Okay, using the distance formula. Derived from the Pythagorean theorem, the distance formula is used to find the distance between 2 points in the plane. The Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, is based on a right triangle where a and b are the lengths of the legs adjacent to the right angle, and c is the length of the hypotenuse. So let's take a look at figure 13. Okay, here we have these legs. We have A and then we have B. So these are the legs of the right triangle. And over here we have the hypotenuse, which is C, which we could also call D for distance. Okay, so if you take a look at this point here, this point represents x1 and y1, and this point represents x2 and y1. So to find the distance from here to here, this is on the x-axis, we would take the absolute value of x2 minus x1 because the absolute value makes that distance positive. When we talk about distance, it has to be a positive value, and that's how we get A. Now over here, if we look at these 2 points, we have x2 and y1, x2 and y2, but this is the distance location for y. So we want to find y2 minus y1, and whatever that value gives us is going to, the absolute value is going to give us a positive value for B. So A and B are going to be the legs of the right triangle, and C, which is also D as far as distance is concerned, gives us the hypotenuse of that right triangle. Now again, the relationships of those sides to side D is the same as that of sides A and B to side C. Again, we use the absolute value symbol to indicate that the length is a positive number, because the absolute value of any number is positive. So for example, the absolute value of -3 is equal to 3. Now the absolute value means that the distance from -3 to 0 is 3. So again, the symbols here indicate that the lengths of the sides of the triangle are positive. Now to find a length C, we take the square root of both sides of the Pythagorean theorem. So if we had c squared equals a squared plus b squared, then that would mean that C is going to equal the square root of c squared plus b squared. Likewise, it follows that the distance formula is given as the following. D squared is going to equal x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now, if we want to solve for D, we're going to take the square root of both sides, which then gives us D, which is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So we do not have to use the absolute value symbols in this definition because any number that's going to be squared is going to be positive.